looks like we are currently live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Movie Crap. While I update all the things to tell everyone, I hope you can hear my lovely voice. And I hope you enjoy. Oh, I think you can hear my voice because I can hear my voice because
it looks like we are currently live.
I have it on a couple places. Whoa, what's going on here?
Welcome to Movie.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay. You're just gonna hear my voice while I post this everywhere. That's where we are. And then yeah, I hope everyone's having a good night. I'm sorry I'm a little late. This is gonna be the big premiere of my haircut, I guess, if that's a thing that people want to see. I mean, I guess you are gonna see it because I will be doing that. But anyway, all right. So what the fuck? Okay, let's cut. What's going on? All right. It's not. What is? Hold on. Okay. Oh, hello. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry about all this nonsense with cameras and lateness and all that other nonsense, but we are here. Has anyone heard of Invincible? Oh, I didn't know they were doing an animated version of that. Watching this and Lankara's game stream simultaneously. I didn't know that's what you did, Ryan. That's interesting. Alright, so we are here. We are good. There's lots of movie news to talk about. Lots of big movie news. Lots of little movie news. Lots of movie news in general. I want to thank everyone for being here. I am sorry it took me a minute to get here. We are here. I got Godzilla with me. I got a new haircut. Wait, so the Bart statue is really gone? I need to confirm that because I'm sort of around where that is, and I feel like I could. I'll have to confirm that at a later date. Is it because of Fox News is no longer part of 20th Century Fox? That's a possibility, I would say. That could be because Fox News isn't part of Disney and The Simpsons are. Maybe it was moved to another location. There are 2 dislikes. That's weird. The haircut isn't too obvious. It's not a crazy haircut. It just kind of shortened it up. But thank you for noticing, Nathaniel Fogel. All right, let's get everything set up for the day. Lots of things to talk about. First, obviously a lot to do with Walt Disney Animation Studio. Director comments. Lots of some New York Comic Con stuff. Not too much. If there's something you want me to talk about, bring it up in the chat. Hopefully I will see it. Super Chat is a great way to support the show, support me, and get your question noticed. But there will also be questions at the end. So I will answer all of them then, Super Chat or not, and all the Patreon questions and all that stuff. But let's get into the first story, which I'm going to drink some water. This is all set up maybe a little too quickly. Oh, there we go. All right. Did Nancy Cartwright make the sound is too low? Oh, well, I'm sorry about that. I can make it a little louder. Maybe your ears are too low. Well, it's pretty loud right now. I'm sorry. I will make it louder then if that is such an issue. But it's as loud as it's going to go. I have not seen the first episode of Primal. If that is what you're asking, I kind of wanted to enjoy it, and I don't have enough time to do that. But I will have a review of Primal of the whole series. So, yeah. All right, so the first thing, and I feel like Ryan Walterson is definitely going to be correcting me on this if I got any of it wrong. But I've noticed there's a lot of kind of false information about this, and it is the thing with Sesame Street and HBO Max. Now, basically, what the deal is, straight up, is Sesame Street episodes will be premiering on HBO Max instead of premiering on HBO, which they have been for the past little bit. And then they later air on PBS. That deal with PBS is not going to end. So if you don't want to pay for HBO, you will still get those episodes. I do have a Red Bull handy since people ask. I'm sorry. I should pay attention. Camera, chat. It's hard to do both. But basically it premieres on HBO right now and then later comes on PBS or PBS Kids. With the HBO Max thing, it would premiere on HBO Max and then later show up on PBS Kids. It will not. They do say in the press release the current season of Sesame Street is airing on HBO. They did not say anything about whether it will continue to air on HBO or whether it will continue to air on HBO Family, which is a big deal for me personally because that's how Sophie watches Sesame Street. So there's been The Verge basically took half of this basically, this deal, this story, and cut out the part where it airs on PBS and things like that. A lot of people saying Sesame Street is behind a paywall and there were taxpayer money and so forth. I understand what they're doing in terms of it airing on HBO, but at the same time, it doesn't change too much because if you're paying for HBO, that's already a certain surcharge to your cable anyway. So there's not like there's a lot of people who would be paying for HBO and not getting HBO Max. Now, the streaming rights, there were barely any streaming things of Sesame Street on the PBS Kids thing. I don't think there's any anymore, but there's so little. So I just don't really... I sort of understand the anger. I would be more upset if they're just totally... I don't know what HBO Family would even be without Sesame Street, because that's like 80% of what they air, pretty much. I'm more angry they stopped playing reruns of Pinky Dinky Doo, frankly. I would like more people to be upset about that, but... I don't know why they stopped, but basically they're just converting this to streaming. One of the reasons they got Sesame Street is because it would matter a lot to streaming, because if you have a kid, you're definitely going to do that. But it is true, Ryan is writing in the chat, they are going to do new things for like an Elmo talk show and things specifically for HBO Max. But if you're a kid who has, are completely poor and you can't afford HBO Max, you can still watch Sesame Street every day on PBS like you always have. So it is not getting taken away and just becoming a streaming only thing. It's more of the premiere issue. Now, I don't know how this goes in other countries and things like that, but I really don't like people saying, oh, it's just leaving normal television, because that's not really true. The most that, and this press release only insinuates that it would actually leave HBO proper. It doesn't say HBO Family, which is also how most people watch Sesame Street. So it says nothing about that. I really doubt they would do that. But, yeah. I wanted to clarify this, basically. I think in some ways it'll be good because we can watch reruns of Sesame Street on HBO Max, and HBO Family plays reruns of Sesame Street already. Like, they use the archive. I'm curious how they'll organize that archive, because some of it is just a bunch of segments and not strict episodes and things like that. So, we have a fun fact. Fun fact from Niji Kichu. So thank you. In the original Addams Family sitcom, the house walls are actually bright pink, as it looks better in contrast when in black and white. I actually knew that, but that's a cool fun fact. So, first, I opened the Red Bull for you, Niji Kichu. Thank you. And also, Niji Kichu helped teach me how to do good timestamp links, which will be in the description of this video. So thank you. They're really helping make this video cool. Okay. But, I just think basically what, Ryan's like handling other questions about this. I love it. Anyway, also, by the way, happy birthday to Ryan Walterson. He is a great collaborator as well, and he deserves a happy birthday. And all of you guys are great. Niji Kichu as well. Thank you for the super chat. But Sesame Street is basically, if you are worried about where it's going, if you're already going to get HBO Max, this kind of gives you another reason, because I don't know if there's places really to air like 1980 Sesame Street episodes, like to watch a bunch of them if you wanted to. Most kids aren't as into it because the flow is a little different. But I think this will make HBO Max, it gives them kind of an upper hand because you're obviously going to do that. And they really kind of wanted to do a press release, be like, yo, we're going to have a lot of Sesame Street and you're going to be able to see it here first. But it is not going away. They're not limiting access to Sesame Street technically. It's just kind of a premiere thing because the other access to it, they didn't say it's off HBO Family, it's off HBO, or it's off PBS. So people freaking out about this, it's not, I understand we want it to be as available to people as it can be, but it's not too much is changing other than if you will stay, wake up early to watch Sesame Street on HBO on Saturday mornings. If you do that and want a premiere, you're not going to get that anymore. But that's pretty much all this really affects. To be honest, I am curious what they would do with all their HBO kind of channels and if HBO Family would change. But my bigger concern is where is Pinky Dinky Doo? All right, so there is going to be a new, serious about this, a new Inspector Gadget movie, a live-action Inspector Gadget movie. Yes, this is true. Disney is considering it, and it has like Mikey Day from SNL. Is he still on SNL? Was it Mikey Day? Yes, Mikey Day, who I think is also helping write the Home Alone reboot. We know literally nothing about this. There's nothing we know about the live-action Inspector Gadget, although they're trying to do it again, which I don't know. I was so against the first one, and I know. I keep reading on a lot of reports, they kept saying like, well, the French Stewart one's closer to the cartoon. I'm like, I guess, is it? Did anyone care to find out? I just don't really think that's a real thing, but I don't know. I kind of don't want to find out. I'm sure now someone's going to put in the movie review vote, and I'll have to, and that is my life. If it doesn't, so an Untitled Project says if it doesn't have French Stewart, I'll write. Yeah, but we don't know anything about it other than they're planning on doing it. I actually think if you did it in like a la Speed Racer, because I just reviewed that and so forth. If you do it in a Speed Racer way, I think you could do it, but you have to have someone who actually respects the series, and there's probably filmmakers who grew up with it, and these sound like there are, that this could actually work, I think. So it's possible, but I think it's an awful idea. So now let's get on to what's going on with Disney Animation, because there is a lot going on with Disney Animation, actually. Okay. First off, let's talk about the Jennifer Lee doesn't rule out traditional animated features at Disney. Now, Jennifer Lee, it seems like she's doing a lot of interesting experimentation. So is Pete Docter at Pixar, and I'm kind of very excited for both of them being a part of running the two big 10 pools of Disney Animation. I guess there's 3 now with Blue Sky, but who cares about that? I don't know what's going on there. But she said she doesn't rule out doing traditional animation. I think that's the full quote. I just don't. So my thing about this is I like no, the quote's like really buried in there. I should have followed the quote. All right. The point is about this traditional animation thing is Lasseter said the same thing. And I'm very hesitant to give her any credit for this until it actually happens. Now, I think there are far more, and I posted this on Twitter, that I thought what they should do is make a traditionally animated feature for like Disney Plus and build up momentum and get kids more into traditional animation again, and then release it to theaters. Like, let's build up this talent, let's build up the idea of this, let's see where it goes, and like we have that cushion, so if it totally sucks or it doesn't work out, we're fine, basically. I actually thought, and this is I have no verification on this, and I'm sure you're all going to be like, yeah. But I sort of thought when Don Bluth visited Disney Animation, they would maybe let him make a Disney, let him make an animated thing for Disney Plus. But I don't think, maybe he pitched to them or something. I think he just visited, but that would have been cool. But basically, she is saying this. Disney brings this up every now and then just to like kind of tease us a little bit, but I sort of just don't really appreciate it. I'm like, just make one. And she announced like 4 different directors who are doing 4 different projects, and none of them were traditionally animated. So it doesn't sound like they're that serious about it. It just sounds like they're like, oh, well, maybe we'll do it at some point. And I'm sort of like, sure, but you have all the resources in the fucking world and you haven't done it. So like, you need to actually do it, and you have not. So like, until they have, I'm calling shenanigans or bullshit on this whole thing. I hope that they actually do it at some point, and I hope, and they have all the resources and a streaming service and all these things, and Netflix is making interesting traditional animation from all over the world. You're Disney, you got the brand, just fucking do it. I'm sorry, it's lame. All right, so the other thing that Jennifer Lee did, they announced 4 filmmakers who are going to do upcoming animated movies. To our understanding, these are CG animated films. Those directors are Susie. Oh, this is going to be rough because I'm not good at reading things. Susie Unessi, Carlos Lopez Estrada, who directed Blind Spotting, which I didn't see but was a movie. Josie Trinidad and Mark Smith. Susie Unessi and Carlos Estrada both are live action directors coming to animation. The other 2, Josie Trinidad was a story artist on Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Mark Smith from Big Hero 6 and Zootopia. But I kind of, I like that she is a lot of diversity. I think I'm not sure that it doesn't, I don't want to say anyone's ethnicity because I just don't know, but I like that she's opened up and she's developing new talent right out of the gate. I don't really understand what the animation background of these live action directors, which I've noticed a lot of people are a lot of people in the live action world are more talking about like do these people know what they're doing, the live action director? Like, everyone's for the story artist because they probably know what they're doing, but everyone else, you're like, in what avenue are they doing this? Like, it's so weird. So I kind of think I'm curious like what they're going to do, what these projects are. We just know like they're directors and they're announced to things, and you're kind of like, sure. I mean, I don't really think anyone really knows for sure. Sorry, I shouldn't look at Twitter. I don't think anyone knows for sure, but it's kind of like, that sounds interesting. I like what she's doing with it. I like that her and Pete Docter are open to doing new things, and I hope they fulfill those promises. But right now it's sort of like, that's cool, but what are these live action directors doing here? I'm very curious about that. And you should put doubt on them, because I think it is a little, we don't have a lot of live action directors going to animation. Man, why is that camera? Anyway, I'm getting to the walls kind of towards the end. That's like the end segment here. So, it's like a thing. I'm not going to, I talk about all the other movie news. I see people, that's clearly why most of you showed up, but whatever. That's fine. Thank you for being here. But I talked about other movie stuff before. But anyway, I'm curious about these live action directors coming to Disney Animation and what they're going to do. Next up is, this is a really cool trailer, and I really wanted to talk about it because Netflix is really pushing this animated film. It's their big animated feature Oscar push, and it looks really cool. It's the I Lost My Body trailer. It's basically about a severed hand who's trying to find its body, basically. And through the trailer, you see this hand just sort of walking around. Is that handing around? I'm not sure what it is going to go on with that, but and then you see the hand sensing this kind of sense memory, and it's kind of interesting because you kind of see the life this human in this body has through the hand moving around. I'm very excited for this. I was actually I was kind of half and half on should I see this in theaters before it comes up on Netflix. I am going to do that for The Irishman. I might do that with this because like I had a pretty strong emotional reaction to to this trailer, so I think it's pretty cool. In other Netflix news, we are getting a Stranger Things season 4. I don't think anyone really doubted that. My only doubt with that is the end of season 3 when they're leaving and everything kind of felt like an end, but then you have the post-credits thing, which literally everyone reminded me on when I said, like, season 3 felt like sort of an end, and everyone on Twitter was like, hey, there was that thing, and I get it. They'd made a little teaser. The Duffer Brothers apparently had a 9-figure deal. How many of the 9 figures that was, no one knows, but I assume 9 figures means about $100 million. So they're supposedly going to create more features and other series and things like that. Basically, we're getting at least a season 4. I found it interesting because I've heard them say 4 or 5 at certain points. I think they might just when the story comes to them or something like that. I really like season 3, to be honest. I thought it was a good comeback for them. It was like one of the better kind of summer movie experiences. And I thought it was really cool, and I wish, I wish there was more discussion around it, because I quite liked it. It's very poppy and like fun and stuff. It's not the greatest thing ever or anything, but I had a really good time, and I don't know anyone who hated it or anything. I don't know. The other Netflix thing, I didn't realize they put all these Netflix things together, was Six Underground. The Six Underground trailer is a Michael Bay-directed Netflix movie starring Ryan Reynolds. I think this movie would make a ton of money if it wasn't on Netflix, but it is. It looks fun. There's a grenade that magnetizes everything. It's like, what is going on? And all that stuff. I don't know. It was silly. I didn't like that it's called Six Underground and the Sneaker Pimps song isn't in it, which to me is like kind of an obvious, like, why would you not do that? But they chose not to do that, so cool, good for you. But yes, why is that program open? You ever realize you have too many programs open? That's life, isn't it? Okay, anyway. Sorry. So, yeah, Six Underground. It looks like a fun trailer. I'm sure most people will watch because it looked, you have Ryan Reynolds, you have Michael Bay explosions. What can really go wrong? I didn't think it was like the worst trailer I saw. It kind of made me go, sure, I would watch that on Netflix, which is as passive, as passionate as you can be about being incredibly passive about something that you're kind of like, yeah. All right, so next up, I just thought this was funny. I have a couple smaller things. Hold on. We got a super chat from Niji Kichu. Fun fact, in Scott Pilgrim, the scene with the band in the bedroom had to be reshot since they were wearing shoes when in the comic they weren't. Interesting. Let me read that again because I want to make sure I said that right. Niji Kichu, super chat again. Fun fact, in Scott Pilgrim, the scene with the band in the bedroom had to be reshot since they were wearing shoes when in the comic they weren't. So they had to take off their shoes. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's a good fun fact. Anyway. Thank you very much for the super chat, Ninja Kichu. You're always awesome and amazing. Jeff Garland, who wouldn't look like he'd be in Star Wars, apparently he is. He says he's very noticeable. He's been told he's in the final cut. I just think that's funny that Jeff Garland's in Star Wars. And another thing, this is probably me being a Turner Classic Movie junkie, but here we go. Robert Osbourne's estate is actually going to do an auction of all his various movie memorabilia coming up soon. I also, and I'm not trying to be gossipy, and I understand he was didn't want this talked about too much, but it came to my attention, and I'm not. Anyway, I love Robert Osbourne. He's probably one of the greatest film lovers of all time, and he's one of the reasons we have fun facts about the Oscars and everything like that. Apparently, I didn't know he was gay until this week when I was searching for this news story. So that was interesting. I think anyway, he was a great movie lover. He made Turner Classic Movies what it is. If I had any sort of money, I would buy part of his stuff. I think it should be a museum, much like Indiana Jones, because I would like people to enjoy all that cool movie memorabilia. And it's always sad to just think that Robert Osbourne died. That's like one of my big celebrity deaths of my lifetime, I would say. Next up, according to Leah from, man, I forget her YouTube name, but the cartoon community Leah, she said that she heard that Hilda is coming out September 2020. as well as the Steven Universe thing is going to be Steven Universe Future. That happened as well on the new, more limited series that's going to be more of a follow-up of Steven Universe. Ian compared it to something about Naruto. I don't know Naruto, but he said it, so why not? Next is about Genndy and his future. Now, with Primal coming out, he's been doing interviews. He did an interview with, I'm going to be honest here, and maybe this is not cool to do this, but a really bad animation podcast. I think it's like Saturday morning cartoons. This is not very good. Like, maybe I'm throwing shade. Maybe that's not cool. But I like animation podcasts, and they half sold me because of the subject matter. But I didn't like that. Anyway, they got an interview with Genndy Tartakovsky, and he kind of talks about that. First off, that he is not directing Hotel Transylvania 4. He is freed from Hotel Transylvania. Finally, I felt like every time someone got announced, I'd be like, oh, maybe Genndy can do his own thing. Oh no, he's doing Hotel Transylvania. I actually like 3 was my favorite one, so it sort of worked out. I thought they got better as they went on. But anyway, he's not directing Hotel Transylvania 4. Apparently there's another director attached. Who that is, I don't know. But he brings up, he's working on other projects he brought up in that interview. This is like literally towards the end. It's a nice interview, so you might want to just listen to that if you'd like to. Because it is interesting. He goes into that. I would recommend that one because you can hear Genndy. I just skipped to Genndy because I was bored. Anyway, sorry, I should stop doing that. But I wanted to talk about his 2 projects at Sony that he's working on. One was an R-rated comedy at Sony, and the other is an adventure movie. The R-rated, I feel like some of you guys might know this, so I apologize if you're like, Jim, like, I don't need to know this. What the fuck? But I'm going to talk about it. Anyway, he has 2 movies. The 2 movies, one is called Fixed. It has a cool concept. The concept is about an average dog that learns he will be neutered the next morning, which I think that's a good premise, you know, a good one-night premise. The other one is called Black Knight. It's an adventure movie. This one sounds a little vaguer, but apparently it's about a loyal and highly skilled knight who fails to protect his king and then must transform into the Black Knight to protect his kingdom. I don't know what that even means, but they both sound cool. I'm more into Fixed, and I wouldn't mind him doing kind of a comedy. Apparently he is open to doing more Primal, and Mike Lazo got him to do Primals after he did Samurai Jack. So it sounds like he has a relationship or a working relationship with Adult Swim, which is awesome. So that's all the future Genndy stuff. There's not really that much. I just kind of I realized like no one had really talked about what is he working on, and he said he's working on a lot of projects, and those are the 2 at least he's referring to in interviews recently that are at Sony apparently. So yes, but I think Fix sounds funny, right? I think Fix sounds funny. I that sounds like a funny at least for a short. I don't know if he'll actually do it, but we'll see. You know, it'll be like his stupid the Popeye. I wish that had happened. Oh, apparently the voice of the main guy in Primal was originally the voice of Bluto when he was making the Popeye thing. I didn't know that. That's kind of interesting. But yes, apparently though, a couple people are mentioning Hotel Transylvania 4. Apparently he is like helping, like maybe write and behind the scenes stuff, but we'll see. Like, sounds like that project's sort of just taking shape because it still was successful. Jordan Peele has signed a deal with Universal for the next 5 years to develop, basically write 2 films and with his Monkey Paw Productions. The only project we know about under anything he's working on is the Candyman remake, reboot, whatever the fuck you want to call it this week. That is all we really know about what's going on with Jordan Peele right now. We don't know anything. Oh, we have a super chat. I have been gassy all night and the farts smell like the rotten egg Templeton breaks in Charlotte's Web. Nice fart joke. You know what? That deserves a Red Bull. I have to get my other Red Bull if you guys keep doing this. That's weird. I have been gassy all night and the farts smell like the rotten egg Templeton breaks in Charlotte's Web. Okay, wow. I don't know what to think of that. That's funny. All right, moving on. Speaking of rotten eggs, let's talk about the Birds of Prey trailer. It wasn't that bad. It's probably the best teaser trailer, whatever thing that they have released. I know they're doing a big push at Comic-Con. I'm still not entirely sold. I feel like there's like kind of cool elements to it, and I'm probably more pro it than I've ever been, which isn't that much, honestly. I don't know why she has to have a team. I'm kind of more excited to see her as Harley Quinn in the James Gunn Suicide Squad than like whatever this nonsense is. But it looks fine. I don't think anyone, like, there's so little buzz about this fucking movie that, like, do you even remember the Birds of Prey trailer? And it's Saturday, and this thing came out. I actually don't remember. that wasn't a joke. I quit vaping, quit making me forget the smooth flavor. Wow. All right, so in more, I guess, legalese news, there's a big please don't suck. Yeah. There is a big copyright law thing that is going to be affecting a lot of specifically like late 70s, early 80s stuff, whereby authors are able to get back the rights of their intellectual property. This is becoming an issue with apparently the Terminator rights, because Gail Ann Hurd has apparently said she's going to be doing that. You're also apparently the author of the Beetlejuice screenplay and we have a fun fact. Hold on. Fun fact, in Napoleon Dynamite, the opening scene had to be reshot with a professional hand model since since John Heater's hands looked very bad close up. Ouch! Really? Did they tell him that? That sucks. I'm sorry for him. All right, another Red Bull for. That's like, I wonder how the HR department dealt with that. So now I know John Heater has gross-looking hands, or bad-looking hands. I'm sorry. Untitled Project said, fun fact, my hands also look bad because I chewed my fingernails. Oh. But thank you, Niju Kichu, for the super chat. That's very appreciated. Thank you for the previous person's super chat as well. All right, so copyright law. Basically what's happening with this copyright law is all these rights are going to revert back to the people who created them. There's actually been some specific cases that is already affected. I'm not sure why someone suddenly decided to write about this week, because apparently it's been going on for a while. The Pet Sematary remake that happened recently was actually made because those rights are going to go back to Stephen King. And as well as there's been a lawsuit with Friday the 13th, which is why you haven't seen much about Friday the 13th, or if you're playing the game, why there's been no updates, because the screenwriter, I think it's Vincent Miller, won a case against Sean S. Cunningham, even though Sean S. Cunningham is trying to fight it, saying like it was a work for hire job. But basically, this is going to be affecting a lot of remakes and franchises, and you could theoretically see franchises switch over to other studios that you otherwise wouldn't have thought they would. Particularly, I know the Die Hard franchise is going to go back to either the author or the estate who wrote the original novel. We're going to be seeing a lot of changes in terms of copyright because of this thing Congress did in the 70s. So I'm very curious what the ramifications of this are. Right now, it just feels like it's stopping us from getting... you're right, Ryan. It is an adaptation. I'm sorry. We'll see what this does with rights of remakes and other things, and that it's holding up Friday the 13th. Will this mess with the Terminator things? I feel like a lot of these people are just going to get paydays. I know Who Framed Roger Rabbit is one of those things, because the author who wrote Who Censored Roger Rabbit, and he has a lot of books about Roger Rabbit, so I think he might want to do more loyal kind of adaptation, maybe, possibly, of the books, who I've never read. Maybe they're good. I don't know. But that's basically what's going to be happening. All right, next up. Wow, we are running not too long because I started late. It feels longer. Now let's get on to director comments about things that made everybody angry, because there was two of them right in a row. One was Todd Phillips, and we're going to be talking about him first. So Todd Phillips, basically, who directed Joker, which, yes, I have not seen yet, but I'm going to have a review up hopefully Tuesday late night is the plan right now. Just didn't work out time-wise to be able to see that before. So, because I wanted to see people who were up here for New York Comic Con and stuff. But Todd Phillips basically said he had to do superhero movies because he couldn't do comedies because of woke culture and all these things. That immediately backfired on him, but I just don't find him to be... Like, it's like he was a frat. He was basically the frat pack director, and then when that was ending, he made the Hangover movies and like kept fighting off like his own. He kept fighting off these changes in comedy, and then I have a feeling he probably pitched something and like we can't really do that anymore. And the Hangover, like he did the Hangover movies for way too long in itself, so it's just like he clearly like doesn't have that much going for him. He's not able to adapt and change as a comedian, so he completely changed and did Joker or War Dogs or whatever. So like I get that he like Adam McKay seems to really like how he's changed as a director, whereas it almost feels like Todd Phillips is sort of mad at everybody that he had to do that. But it's like, dude, I don't know. I disagree with people who get upset that the culture's changed. Like, not everything's going to stay the same as when you were, like, prospering at a certain point. Things change and evolve, and you have to be ready for that. Everyone who's older, like, refuses to accept that. I've noticed people, particularly my age, I'm in my 30s, get mad at people, get mad at like Star Wars isn't for me, all the culture isn't for, I don't get Twitter, it's stupid and all this stuff. People who do that just want to be limited and complain and everything like that. They don't want to accept the changing of society and embrace and see what's awesome about it. I don't I really don't agree with Todd Phillips, and I thought it makes him sound like sort of a weak person and kind of a weak director, to be honest. But I haven't seen Joker. I haven't seen too many of his movies. Well, I've seen like Hangover 1 and 3 and like maybe 2 and I don't know. Did he do Road Trip? I feel like he did. Anyway, next is Martin Scorsese's MCU comments. I got a Patreon question about this, so I'm actually going to read just this Patreon question now. There's going to be other stuff after this. But he basically said this long thing that is apparently taken out of an interview from Empire, so we don't even know the full context of this quote. So I don't actually really like what Empire did here. I think it is not fair to take that out of a full interview that has more context. He might have said right after it, like, Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty chill, bro. Scorsese totally says stuff like that. So, like, I can totally see that, maybe not that, but I'm going to read Sin Ram, who's a friend of the show and an awesome person. He wrote a lot about this, and you can see more of his comments on my Patreon page, but I'm only going to read part of it because he wrote a lot, and we only have so much time in the show. Apologies, Sin Ram. He has a great YouTube channel. You absolutely should check that out. You're missing some cool content. But anyway, he said, I've seen Martin Scorsese quoted in a lot of articles about his new interview he did for Empire Magazine. What I can't find is the interview itself. See, there we go. I obviously haven't gotten to read this because this show came together rather quickly tonight. Anyway, what exactly did the interview ask him? That is a good point. Was the question about Marvel Studios or comic book movies in general? It's hard to believe he cannot recognize the merits of Nolan's Batman films or crowd-pleasing blockbusters like the ones directed by his friends, good point, Steven and George during the 70s and 80s. But if he is truly talking specifically about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then I think two things are possible. One, he hasn't seen the best of what the MCU has to offer, and two, these movies may not be his taste, but that doesn't mean they're not cinema. And he brings up a Variety article I haven't gotten to watch. Now I feel like he might have asked like a better, like an actual question. Maybe I should. I'm gonna go check that out. But I kind of think, first off, why does it matter to everyone if Martin Scorsese likes comic book movies? Like, I don't see why that's such a big thing for everybody. Like, it doesn't really matter to me if, like, everybody likes, a lot of people don't like a lot of the stuff I like. So I guess I'm a little more used to it. I think the not cinema comment, because he is Martin Scorsese and he does sort of like make up so much of what we understand cinema, and he's considered maybe one of the greatest, talking about another great lover of cinema, I would say Martin Scorsese is definitely that as well, that he wouldn't recognize it as cinema. I seriously doubt that, although he's not one to ever really make a blockbuster. I just don't find it to be that that true. I just don't really buy it. But he's it's interesting. It didn't upset me that much. I'm kind of like, I guess I think it is cinema. I think it's just a new way of doing cinema. But I just don't think people do that a lot where they just kind of deride it because it's popular, because a lot of people like it. But and Ryan Walterson brings up a fair point that he was in Shark's Tale, so maybe you shouldn't be talking shit. But to me, it's like, we don't need to have this debate on the validity of comic book movies as a cinematic medium, because guess what? They are. It's happened. They are a major factor of cinema today. So anyone who says they're not cinema or something like that isn't paying attention. They're not paying attention to what's going on in movies right now. So if you're going to get upset about that, there's no point, because movies and culture and everything like that has changed because of the MCU, because of Christopher Nolan stuff, because of everything that comic book movies have done, have infected and changed cinema, and especially mainstream Hollywood cinema as a whole. So acting like that's not cinema is lying, because it is cinema. It's very much raptured in the idea of cinema at this point. It's what most people see. If they say 4 to 5 movies, I guarantee you one of them is absolutely a comic book movie. And that's how most people view cinema right now. It's Robert Downey Jr., it's Chris Evans, it's whoever Batman is currently, it's whatever. So everyone, seriously, it's just like, it is. You can't fight it. You could say it's not cinema, but you'd be lying to actually the history of cinema right now. The MCU is a part of it, and you cannot fight that. And you cannot fight comic book movies because it is there. And the kids who are learning cinema right now are influenced by those. And everybody just needs to stop it with that. The only things that aren't cinema is like, I don't know. I actually disagree with like, this is cinema and this isn't, and so forth. Maybe reality shows aren't, I guess, or something. Fine, but you play with the fabric of cinema. Cinema is not something that you get to determine from high on mountain. Cinema is what it is, and you just sort of have to live with it and experience it and everything like that. But again, I would like to read this full interview, and I don't think it was fair of Empire Magazine just release this segment to like get us all upset and everything like that. I thought that was inappropriate, frankly, and I'm more mad at Empire Magazine because they clearly just riled everybody up and hurt Scorsese's reputation possibly for no other reason than to just like be like, oh, we have this really quick clickbaity quote. But like, did you? Because where's this interview? By the time you release this, it's been like a little bit now. We're not going to care as much. Like, it's just so stupid on so many levels. Like, I just like Empire Magazine, like just shut the fuck up. Like, if you're going to do something like that, like you have this great like quote, and like, where's your I just don't. Okay, so I want to talk about another story, and I know people don't sort of want this talked about, but I'm going to talk about it under maybe things Cartoon Brew shouldn't post, maybe. So apparently the creator of Loud House is back, and he's religious now, and he wants to pitch projects. Good for him, but also fuck that guy. I mean, it's just like, I don't understand why we're writing about that. Like, what is the point, Cartoon Brew? Why are you writing about this person? Like, it's like, oh sure, he like sort of came around, but like, I would honestly like, I just like, we don't need him coming around. Like, if he has a new cartoon or something, but it sounds like, hey, I'm back, and I'm like, are you though? You're still a piece of shit. So I don't think that's changed. Anyway, so next up is, I also like, don't post stuff like that. Like, if he has a new show, something he's trying to pitch, that's a story. Like when the guy who made Birth of a Nation came back, that was a story. This isn't. Okay? Like, there's no reason to talk about it. No one talked about Nate Parker when he wasn't doing anything. Anyway. Alright. So apparently Clerks 3 is happening. There was kind of a disagreement with the guy who played Randall and Kevin Smith, and when they were trying to do it previously, and then they sort of met up at an autograph event thing, and they didn't know they were both going to be there. So basically they have met up again, they've made nice, they have come to an understanding, and Clerks 3 is a possibility. I wanted to maybe see Jay and Silent Bob, but it's like doing this one night things, and those are hard for me to do with the kid. I mean, it's hard for me to do anything, but to be honest, with every life and everything like that. But I apparently we are actually Clerks 3 is moving forward at this time. Tarantino talked about with an interview with Martin Scorsese that actually was published in full, Empire Magazine, about how he's considering writing a novel. The premise of this novel I thought was really cool, so I thought I'd share it with you guys, in which a guy comes back from World War II and hates Hollywood movies and thinks they're phony because he's a veteran and has PTSD, and then but he starts liking non-Hollywood films and things like that. He starts liking foreign films, and I thought that was kind of an interesting novel. Sounds sort of like if Tarantino were to make Marty. Marty's a cool movie because it's just about Ernest Borgnine, like an older 40-year-old Ernest Borgnine, kind of really understanding himself and falling in love and like not caring what his stupid friends think. And it's like this really heartwarming, like wonderful movie. And the coolest thing about it is I think the only film to win the Palme d'Or and Best Picture. And if I were to pick one movie to ever do that, it would definitely be Marty, because it's not pretentious at all. It's like so heartwarming and so wonderful. And like, I love Marty's an awesome movie, but it sounds like Tarantino's version of that to me. I think that sounds really cool. A lot of people I have two sort of Tom Holland stories in a row. Now, one is that he helped the Spider-Man deal, which basically everyone I know who's sort of in the know sort of laughs at because I think he had more of a factor. Supposedly he was very present on kind of bringing up more, like showing the fan reaction, how people wanted this, how they should meet together. I have no doubt he probably did do that, and he did obviously have a financial incentive because he's Spider-Man and all that to get this to work. But basically, apparently he might have had a little more to do with it, but I think the media was overemphasizing. Like, I don't think like he parent trapped, Bob Iger and whoever the Sony guy who's creepy, to get them together or something. Although, if someone was to make that an animated thing, I think that would be hilarious. Apparently, the Russo brothers' next film is an adaptation of the book Cherry. It is also starring Tom Holland and a cast of like basically a lot of nepotism Hollywood kids. And this other girl who they look very baby-faced. I'm not sure how they're going to play like war-torn people, but the Russo brothers and the Russo brothers' next film is going to be called Cherry, and it's going to star Tom Holland. So our next thing, I thought there wasn't a thing, but there's like a lot of things this week. Oh, and we're coming up on me playing the Snyder Cut stuff. Someone played Tom Holland peaked with Child's Play. Was he in Child's Play? Oh, I didn't know that. All right. So Dean Deblois, who I previously, like last week, told you was going to be directing a Micronauts movie, is also apparently attached to direct a Treasure Island movie. I'm kind of curious, like, if he's just having, like, Genndy and a lot of people have just several projects at once, so that if one falls apart, he has one to go to, or if this apparently right now is being considered to be made after Micronauts. To be honest, I think Treasure Island would be a better fit for him because he's really great at adventure movies. Like I consider How to Train Your Dragon, those films, to be adventure films. So I think he would be excellent at those, to be honest with you. I think he would be really good at that. So I'm excited for that. I think that would be cool. But he's lining up a ton of live action things. I know I previously said in interviews he was talking about that, and it looks like that's definitely going to be the reality. Okay. Oh, super chat. Here we go. Last fact of the night. Okay, Niji Kichu. Scrooge McDuck is not the richest person. Okay. Let's do this again. This is the last fact. Thank you again, Niji Kichu, for all your support, and you're very good to the show. Scrooge McDuck is not the richest person in fiction. It's actually Gomez Adams. Sorry, I got to go. Gonna watch Joker. Take care. Thank you very much for all your help with the show and all your support, Niji Kichu. And enjoy the Joker. I'd like to actually know what you thought of it, either in this comment or when I actually review it. Anyway, here's a Red Bull to you. Have a good time. Okay. Fun fact, I am not rich or fictional. Untitled project. I don't know who you are, but you're funny. All right. 2 stories, and then you get some Snyder Cut. I'm going to release the Snyder Cut, or the Billboard footage I shot with my phone. There's going to still be a Home Alone reboot, and it has the premise that everyone's heard before, but I'm going to tell you. It's basically about a kid who steals something from a couple, and they need to get it back. So he's home alone, and he stole something. It's a twist. Melissa McCarthy and Will Ferrell are apparently being considered. It's going to go straight to streaming. To be honest, this doesn't sound that great to me, but sure, why not? Also, apparently, Eddie Murphy is saying there's going to be a Beverly Hills Cop 4, which we've been hearing forever, but since he is doing a comeback and it looks like this is really happening, he claims he's going to shoot after Coming to America 2. We'll see about that, but and no director or anything is attached. All right, so we're going to try to play a video here. Hold on. Okay. Oh, hold on. I gotta move video up. Alright. Sorry. I'm aligning this in my little OBS preview screen here. Let's get it all ready. We'll just keep looping, I guess. Alright. And, oh, okay. Alright, so let's go. Okay. All right. So this is the billboard in actual Times Square. There we go. There it is. You saw that Adam Lambert thing before. See, it has little quotes from him. How good the Snyder Cut is there, which is the thing. I could have. And then after this little thing, apparently you can rent out this billboard. It's this thing about this guy who's trying to get his girlfriend back. I don't know what happened there. I'm a little curious. Like what happened in that relationship? You know, it's like what happened? I'm very curious about, like, who cares about the Snyder Cut? What happened to that couple? Should I play it? Let's play it again, because it's the stupidest thing. Anyway, I love that they spent money on it and then they say it's for national suicide awareness. Yeah, like, what is with that couple? Like, I just don't understand what happened there. Like, are they, I don't know, apparently you can rent out that. Maybe I should rent out that. How much does that cost? Apparently not that much, because that guy did it, or he just blew out a credit card. I don't know. I just heard they did it, and I was like, I have to go find it. Hold on. Cashew the Musical as a super chat. Thank you very much for the support, Cashew the Musical. To bring it back, who would you like to play Inspector Gadget? I got Keanu Reeves or Mulaney. I don't know about director. Someone fun. Okay. Inspector Gadget, I would want someone, maybe a physical comedian. As a director, I would want someone who understood animation and understood the show of Inspector Gadget. I wouldn't mind, actually, Jake Kasdan, who did the Jumanji movies. I wouldn't mind... John Mulaney would probably be really good. But I want someone who could play Clueless. I want a good person to play Penny, maybe the girl from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's director. Someone who could do a cartoony style very well. And I would honestly not... Someone put Jim Carrey. Nathaniel Fogel put Jim Carrey. Yeah, Bill Hader. Who said Bill Hader? Oh, also Nathaniel Fogel. Well, Bill Hader would be good. I would just... I'm more considering about the style, but I would say someone who could hint at things. I wouldn't mind a Marvel director. Maybe someone who's good at doing that kind of CG stuff. But I really want them to make a good one story. Someone put Steve Carell. That is the choice I would go with. Yeah, Steve Carell would be good with it. Director, I would just want... Dean Deblois would actually be really good, to be honest with you, even though I just said it, and it's like a boring choice because I just said it. But I would go with, I don't know, there's a lot of directors there. Well, there's not a lot of directors because I can't think of any. I would just want someone who could do an adventure film and be able to do basically the show. Actually, James Bobbin, who I just saw do Dora and did the Muppets movies. That would actually, I think he could do it. I'll go with James Bobbin and Steve Carell. For 100. Not super, like it's a game show. Sorry. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that Snyder Cut footage. But yeah, someone said, hold on. Someone put there, Bionic Prime said, what's more likely, we get the Snyder Cut or he gets his girlfriend back? I like that. I just want to know, like, it's clearly, like, it's not too expensive to rent that, which makes the Snyder Cut thing, but they spent a lot of time on it, clearly, so I don't know. All right, we're getting towards the end of this, and then I'll talk about The Wall soon. Sort of soon. I'm on the page of my script where... Anyway, I hope you liked that I at least walked to show you that the people want the Snyder Cut enough that they made a billboard. And it's not really in Times Square proper. It's, like, kind of off to the side where the movie theaters are. So it's, like, I wanted to... It says Times Square, but I'm like, I mean... Technically, I guess, but like not like if TRL was still around, you wouldn't make the TV. I'm going to tell you that right now. Oh, that was for the previous super chat, but Danny DeVito as a Claw. Man, maybe the chat should just make the Inspector Gadget movie, because you guys would do a good job. Alright, so the Lupin the Third CG animated film released a new trailer. It showed you more of the plot. I don't know what they were saying because it's in another language. It looked cool. Lupin movies are not as, other than the obvious Castle of Cagliostro, are never as something I'm as into as the show. Really, I reviewed the first version of the show and then did the movie, and I've seen a couple of the other movies, but I kind of like it when it's more loose and fun. This looked like it could be okay, but I at least like the animation style. I really like the character designs, everything like that. I'm very excited to see it. I think I like the teaser more, and that's probably because I made the mistake of accidentally clicking on the previous trailer and then watching this, and I sort of like the other trailer more. I don't know. Sorry. The movie 1917, which is the new film from Sam Mendes and is shot by Roger Deakins, who's pretty much the greatest cinematographer living right now. Apparently they had a New York Comic Con panel, which sounds weird. I don't really understand how a World War I movie would have a panel at Comic Con, but whatever. Apparently they talked about how it was shot like it's a single take, basically, and like the camera is like a character with them, which actually sounds it's Lupin. Okay, thank you, Ren. It actually sounds like it sounds like they tried to make it like a character, and Roger Deakins talked about the theory of having the camera moving all the time like that, and that sounds actually really interesting. Several people brought up they think this film will play well with male Academy voters because it's super masculine, all that stuff. But I think it sounds cool, and with Roger Deakins doing that sounds incredibly interesting. We had the trailer for the Richard Jewell film. This is a film that everyone thought would come out, but didn't have an official release date until like right before the trailer dropped. Everyone thought it was going to be the big Oscar surprise, and surprise, it was the surprise we thought it was, so not surprising. But I really liked the Richard Jewell trailer. It looked really cool. It's a really interesting story, actually, and the premise is, you know, a guy who was actually a hero and he got thrown through the mud by the media and pretty much destroyed. And I think that's a really sad thing. I'm not a huge Clint Eastwood as a director fan, but to me this looks like sort of maybe the perfect thing for him. Sully kind of just didn't have enough to really like have enough like story there other than the plane thing. It's like a lot of it was like, well, what could have happened and stuff. But Richard Jewell, there's like a lot of stuff there. So I think it might work with his sensibilities, to be honest. I'm a little excited. And I like that they have a character actor playing the main person. I thought that was cool. This is one that didn't get reported on as much, but apparently there are these Amazon Go stores, and the parent company of Regal is actually considering letting Amazon Go stores be in Regal locations. I don't know how that would work in New York because most of them don't have enough space to just like let a store be there in the Regal, and I don't know how that would work. But apparently that's something they're considering. That to me sounds like it totally sucks. So apparently, so Disney's doing all sorts of crap deals with a lot of people, and I don't really understand this, but Disney is apparently going to stop accepting ads from Netflix on their entertainment channels, particularly on ABC. They're not going to be running them anymore because the streaming wars are real, and they're also having a fight with Amazon over basically ads on their apps that Amazon feels that they should get a piece of, and they might not have Disney Plus on Amazon devices if they can't figure out this deal as well. So Disney's definitely playing some hardball with this, which I don't really get. All right, 2 more stories and then I'll talk about The Wall. All right. So we have Halloween Kills is bringing back the nurse from the original, Nancy Stevens. She was previously in H2O. She's back as well. So they're pretty much bringing everyone back except for the actual kid who played Tommy Doyle, or getting someone else. And then finally, this is the last thing. The Kingsman trailer. Is it the Kingsman trailer? Whatever. The other Kingsman movie. There's a new trailer. It still looks interesting to me. I'm still into the idea. I think it looks kind of cool. I like the first Kingsman. I didn't really like the second one. I sort of like the premise of this and where it's going. It's sort of a weird idea, so I'm into it. All right, so let's take a big chug of this. and talk about, right, Godzilla? And talk about The Wall. Yes, tell all your friends. Jim's going to talk about the Nostalgia Critics The Wall review. At first, I think this actually came out before the last movie crap, but in the past week, there's been so much talk about this thing, and I oddly have watched way too much stuff about this review, and it does become a bit of a fascinating thing. It's probably the big hate watch thing of the year for YouTube, and I sort of get it, because it's much like the Cats trailer. You can't help but watch it. You can't help but be fascinated by it. But unlike, I'm not sure where the Cats is going to go, but it was really bad. I will say I'm happy for him that he was artistically doing something different and expanding upon what expanding upon his art in some way and changing what he was doing. I thought, I applaud him for doing that. I think that is not an easy thing to do. That is a hard thing to do, and especially for someone who's been doing it as long as he's been doing it. I get that, like, he doesn't, that he necessarily he doesn't do that a lot, and we're always talking about how boring and bland he is, and I think he did try. I think it failed, and it failed for a lot of reasons. One, because, well, okay, so I think it sucked. That was one. All of it, everything it had to... Niji Kichu is giving us updates from the Joker theater. Said, at the theater, there are cops in the lobby. Thank you for the super chat. $2. Thank you. Back to The Wall. But I think with with the thing with The Wall and his review of The Wall is that, why do this movie? There's nothing that's really like demanding us to talk about The Wall right now. And I think the biggest problem with the Nostalgia Critic is he basically picks from what were big movies at the time. And like a super chat from Austin T. Trek just brought up, he is worse. He is the worst. He is the worst. He does no research. And I would agree with that. Thank you for the super chat, Austin T. Rex. But anyway, he does no research, and it seems like basically he's resting on the laurels of, I was a kid around the time he was a kid, and you sort of know the same movies, the same old movies that people would rent. And back in the day when you and your dad and your family went to the video store, you went to the video store for friends, you had to come back with something. There was no like debate on like, you can't, the new releases were out, I just came home. Like, nobody did that. You had to get something. So older movies were a little more talked about, like, regularly. And The Wall, if you're into Pink Floyd and stuff, was one of them. And so I get, like, he eventually had to come to it because he's basically reviewed literally everything from his childhood. And he's like, well, this was one of those movies. And it does feel like he's kind of come to it in that fashion. Like, it doesn't feel like he has necessarily a love for it. But as well as, like, I think the biggest thing with him, and it's interesting because, like, Lindsay Ellis came from Channel Awesome, Todd in the Shadows, who I watch a lot of good critics, I would say, who I'm probably not as familiar with, but I'm sure you guys are, have points to their review. They have a thesis for what they're saying. What was the thesis of his review of The Wall? That it's pretentious, that, all these kind of, like, really very kind of surface level kind of complaints about it that like anyone would say. And I don't really want someone telling me what an art house movie is when I'm pretty sure he doesn't know what an art house theater is. He might think it's like a house that has a bunch of art in it. But I just don't really get like what I don't know. I just think he is really kind of pathetic in his choices, in that like he could expand on things, he could understand more about cinema. And I actually really liked his thing on Secret of Nim recently, and I think there is like kind of when he really cares about a movie, he really actually has interesting things to say about it. But The Wall, he didn't. It was, and even what he said, what really actually offended me about it was the Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, where he brings up that like you should just have some balls and get over high school. And it's like, dude, first off, like, shut the fuck up. But secondly, what the teacher does in that scene, I don't know if you've ever had like something you've written like kind of destroyed and humiliated in front of a group of people, but it's like pretty horrific and it's pretty hard to go through, especially when you're a kid. And even though, you know, that scene is lame, and the wall is lame to a certain regard, he should be able to understand the emotions of those scenes and understand like what the meaning of that is. And clearly, like, Doug Walker always does this thing where he like kind of I would say doesn't like to go to any extreme, because he's basically like been fairly successful for a while. He doesn't seem to have any, you know, real hardships or anything. I don't know his life, but it just feels like through his review style. I remember he did a review of The Purge, and he's like, I think we need a few more steps than that society would fall apart. But I'm like, you're missing the paranoia and the edge of the film to kind of just dissuade everyone and like tuck us all into bed, but you're not being a good critic by doing that. You're basically making everyone feel safe. What's different from Nostalgia Critic to Lights, Camera, Action Jackson or everything? He doesn't really understand much of what's going on. He just like kind of like passes over everything. He's sort of like your boring dad who reviews a movie and doesn't really understand the mechanics of it. And he's never really evolved much from that. He got to be big at a time where there wasn't many people there, but he's not special enough to like kind of keep this going. And nothing he was saying with The Wall made me like, it just felt like a series of kind of complaints strung together, barely making a review. And what the fuck was with that SpongeBob thing? Like, why is he dragging SpongeBob into this and making like, clearly he like thinks lesser of SpongeBob to be like kind of a light joke at the end. I don't know. And Nolan's in the chat. Thanks, Nolan. Hey, Nolan, how are you doing? He brings up he doesn't know that The Wall was written from a different perspective at a different time, which is very true. And the schools in the UK at the time he grew up were awful. And that is true. That is actually a very good point. And English schools, particularly boarding schools, there are various stories about that and how hard that is for kids and how some kids don't even come back the same. Like, that's how hard they are. And, you know, Doug went to a nice, like, Midwest school or wherever the fuck and had a good time. And, you know, I'm sure someone teased him a little bit. But, like, you know, just... I think he really isn't someone who's listening to critical discourse and understanding it and then like shitting on Twitter, which has he ever tweeted? I don't know. He probably has. I just don't really, I think this review is kind of like, even for him, really horrifically bad, but it's sort of sad that it's so horrifically bad because you sort of feel like he wanted to try, but then like, why were him and the teacher like dancing above a city? Like, it's just like, it's so bad and so awful. You kind of want to go into it, and it just like, I just don't understand what happened, like how it came. Like, I would watch a whole documentary on how they made this. Where are the people who made the Fire Festival? Whichever one was the better one, I forget now. They should make it on the making of The Wall, because it was of not the Pink Floyd's The Wall, of this. It's just, you know, yeah, Roger Waters is pretentious. Yeah, you made all these points, but like, have a new take on it, or an interesting take, or like, this is my perspective from it. But and then the guy from Slipknot's in it with his kid. Like, it's just so weird. It's just, it's sort of weird and insane and like highly interesting to watch people talk about, but it is really one of the worst things I think I've seen on YouTube this year. And it's just like, I've seen some of his stuff, like clips through Twitter and people posting it, but I really wish he would. I really wish he would only make videos of things he's like really passionate about, because that looked like such a financial loss. Like, it's just like, it's depressing to think about. And I feel bad for the people who are just like employed there, but I guess like they like it. I don't know. I'm very curious. Someone needs to make a documentary about that, because I don't know. It's horrific. It's bad. And like, I didn't even watch it in one sitting. I kept coming back to it and going like, wait, he's complaining about the runtime. This video is like an hour long or something, even though I'm an hour long into my stream, but I guess that's a different thing, because he just wrote all these songs. I appreciate that he wanted to do just something different and did do something different, but I think he needs to understand the perspective of why he's doing it and not just doing something different. It's one thing to do it on like a short thing or a quick thing, but he just burned it out on all of this, and it was really bad. And I hope someone at least tears it. I hope someone at least tears down I hope someone at least tears down Doug's wall and like lets him sort of understand the nonsense he created. But I feel like he's so safe in his own bubble. He's actually trapped in his own wall like the protagonist, and he'll never really break out of it, and we'll just continue getting these awful nonsense skits from him. So I'm excited for his next one like this because wow. All right, so we're going to do some Patreon questions, and then we will do real other questions. Not real questions. But yeah, so I do these first, and I do the other questions, and that's what we're doing. So first, William Ellman, one of my patrons. I hope I was supposed to say his name. I just said it, so it doesn't matter now, but I did. All right, do you have a favorite film movement? Mine would probably be Italian neorealism. My favorite film movement, I'm going to be a cliched bitch here and say probably French New Wave. I like film noir is not a movement, I guess. I like German New Wave, actually, which no one talks about. And obviously the 70s Hollywood, but that's not really a movement, I guess. And also he asked, do you have any favorite hip-hop albums? Mine would be Mad Villainy by MF Doom and Madlib, or Fun Crusher Plus by Company Flow. Mine would actually be Houdini. I think it's We Are Houdini. Damn it. Is it? What was it? Damn it. I always get the name wrong, but I really like it. Well, one would be Illmatic by Nas. That's, I think, one of the best of all time. Sorry, I'm looking on my Spotify most listened to, and it's Escape. Okay, Houdini's Escape would be one of my favorite hip-hop albums, and I would say Nas Illmatic. Ready to Die's up there. Outkast, Stankonia, Atlians I would put on there too. I think that's enough. That's a bunch, right? You guys are fine. All right, so we have a couple long ones. Yeah, 2 long ones, and then yeah. Anyway, I like Garbage Filled Movement. Of course you do, Nolan. All right. This is from Reanimated Jesus. Said, hey Jim, how's it going? I like the new approach of movie crap, and it's great that you're interacting with your audience. Oh, thank you. Anyway, I should have just read the question part, but that was nice of you. Also, Reanimated Jesus. I got a question about film enthusiasts / pretentiousness. I add more. He's going to add context to this, but I got into film around 13, and around 16, I became an unpleasant film snob around my family, like saying that film is better because it gets nominated for an Oscar, shit like that. Of course, they didn't like it. Eventually, I snapped out of it and learned to appreciate film in many different forms. Did you ever went through a film snob pretentiousness phase? Some say I never got out of it. That was me saying that, not him. And any advice for your young subscribers who might need help from this kind of situation? Okay, well, I will say this about that is I was a pretentious film person in high school, very much so, and I would like not see anything fun that all the kids were saying, but I definitely went through that. I didn't have the Oscar thing. It was more like I would just be seeing like all the big, foreign films that would eventually be released on Criterion and stuff like that. So I personally went through that. What I would say is like movies are a wide variety of things, and just acting like the big pretentious classics are a thing is like not really seeing all of cinema, and you're going to miss out on stuff because people like that stuff usually like don't go too far out of that box. But you should see that stuff. It gives you a good knowledge and understands that stuff, but it just doesn't give you the full picture, and you should get that full picture of cinema to really fully understand it. And cinema can be fun, it can be pretentious, it can be anything like that, but that is an avenue you can get in. Just get out of it, because eventually it gets insufferable. And especially when you're older, when I meet those people, I'm like, bro, we used to watch Ghostbusters all the time, and now you're talking about this thing. That happened to a good friend of mine. I think it's fucking awful when you see that. All right, so this is the other one. This is a long one, and then we're going on to your guys' question in the chat. Thank you all for being so patient. And this is a longer episode. All right, to go along with NC's The Wall review, what is by far the worst video you've seen on YouTube? I would also, Nolan should review this also. Should answer this also. Okay, what is by far the worst video you've seen on YouTube? It can be by many factors: badly produced, sound quality, presentation, the person involved just annoys you, all that jazz. And no, you can't answer the Nostalgia Critics The Wall review because that is way too easy now, considering he's practically created a new shit tier. Wow. Suppose my answer without going after Channel Awesome would be content creator Mobro Studios abrupt goodbye video when he... Oh, this is interesting, by the way. Which he has since privatized, where despite it just being white text on a background was perhaps the most passive-aggressive, condescending few minutes I might have ever sat through at the time. It was nothing more than him jerking himself off. He has a life outside of making videos. Wow. And he didn't need annoying comments bossing him around or some shit. I don't know. It was really ridiculous, and much respect was lost that day for a content creator I really aspired from, which I think is a worthy enough content contender for worst video I've seen, at least until this notorious review of The Wall recently. Worst YouTube. It is a tough question, Nolan. You're right. You know what? I used to be fascinated by this kid, and he did a lot of reviews of Turkey Hill lemonade, and I was really into them, and I didn't rip them, and then he took them down, and he later said in a video he was embarrassed of them, and me and a bunch of friends, we never commented on them or gave them thumbs down. We just watched. They were just like a funny kid, but they were kind of badly made. And then they were, and I've been regretted. Like, we wanted to like put beats under them and stuff, and we never did it, and we like regret it ever since. I don't even know that kid's name now, but they were good. Nolan has actually said most stuff from Sonic Tubers is pretty garbage. They act like an authority when they have no clue what they're talking about, which is what I've heard too. The worst thing, maybe the Saturday Morning Cartoons podcast. Man, I'm really like going after them, but. Was it Saturday? What is that podcast that I've been shitting on all? I think I deleted it. No, yeah, Saturday Morning Cartoons from Collider. Yeah, that's not the worst. But they're the new Pizza Party enemies. It's like them and Nero's Q. No, actually Nero's Q's video is pretty bad, but that's what I guess I should say. I don't know what the worst. That's like so hard because YouTube has so much crap on it. Like, what am I supposed? It's like, how do you know what's the top of the shit pile? Like, that's impossible to come up with. Like, I don't even know where I would start. Like, you know, it's like eventually you just get tired and just like die of fumes, which is like probably how most of our generation will die anyway. So it's probably fitting. Man, I don't know. Sorry. I don't know. Chris Stuckman. No, he's not. Well, he's not great. Anyway, let's answer some questions. I'm sorry. I can't think of what it would be. Maybe, probably something. I can't say Nostalgia Critics. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, Keemstar. There we go. All right, so let's answer some questions in the chat, and then let's all sort of go home or whatever. Let's see. Do I have any questions? Just hanging out. I think I got to everything, didn't I? Okay, here's one from Ace the Wind Rider. Jim, did you hear about the Captain Marvel porn actress taking shots at Brie Larson? I didn't. That's weird. I don't know what she would take shots at. I'm curious about that. Major Mekazawa asked, now that the Joker movie is out, what's your favorite Joaquin Phoenix performance? Probably The Master, maybe. Probably The Master, I would say. We'll like that answer. Okay, I like the joke thing. I would probably say maybe her, but The Master's probably up there. Jake Paul's Suicide Forest. Damn it. Monster Review asked, favorite Twilight Zone episode? I might be typical and say the Shatner Something on the Wind thing. I also like the another Shatner one where they're in the diner. I don't think I have one that's like interesting or different. Ryan Walterson keeps bringing up during this game stream tonight, Linkara talked smack about the Wall review, and he was pretty blunt about it. Oh, cool. I'm curious I kind of want to check that out, what he said. Cashews the musical. Who does good physical comedy acting director bring it back to Inspector Gadget? Well, I mean, Buster Keaton and a lot of the silent comedians. I will say what they're doing with the Three Stooges movie I actually thought was actually pretty good. I would say that. There's not a lot of people who can do it. Robin Williams actually could do it, but obviously he can't currently. Evil Ira said, have you read the Invincible comic? No, but I've heard it's really good. Austin T-Rex question, when will the Space Chimps review be out? That was from the last stream about Space Chimps. I don't, maybe if it's in the Patreon movie review vote, maybe. Let me drink some water, sorry. Favorite Elia Kazara asks, I think I'm saying your name right, sorry. Favorite Sesame Street episode of those you can remember? They changed around a lot, but I did like the one where Lin-Manuel Miranda ushered Big Bird kind of off and tried to sell him something. I would say anyone with the stop motion Bert and Ernie thing. I really like that segment. I don't know if I can come up with a favorite episode. That's really hard to do. But I also, when I was a kid, when R2-D2 and C-3PO showed up, that was really cool. For Evazard, I think, with all the same CGI movies coming out from Japan, are you worried Japan might focus more on 3D animation than 2D? I have worried that, and I hope it doesn't happen. What will it take to get you to drink Monster Energy drink instead? Monster Energy drink is gross, so no, I don't know. If they were my sponsor, I probably would just have to, but they don't give me energy like Red Bull does. So, I mean, Red Bull, they're not a sponsor, but they do give me wings. So, thoughts on the infamous Pizza Party podcast wiki? I guess that's the thing that comes up when people Google search me. I'm not proud of it, but I've just learned to accept the Pizza Party fandom. So it's just life now. Thank you, Retrozard, who said that. Okay, Major Mekozawa, do you have any interest in HBO's Watchmen miniseries, and what do you think of the graphic novel itself, if you've read it? I've read it a couple times. I really thought when they announced it would just be a good miniseries adaptation of The Watchmen, and it isn't, and I'm sort of like not interested. I'm not a big Lindelof fan, so I don't think I'll watch it. But I sort of want there to be a miniseries adaptation of the original comic. My only issue with the comic, and it's not the comic itself, it's that I think it's not something that people should read first. Like, it's something you have to understand the medium more before reading, and I really wish they wouldn't say, oh, it's the best graphic novel, you have to read it, because that's not really helpful, I think. But I think there's other graphic novels you could read. I can't think of them right now, but I think that it shouldn't be recommended the way it is. It's not a good example of that, but I think it is very good. Austin the Windwriter asks, will we ever get the Genndy Popeye movie? No, probably not. Doesn't sound like we are. He's not working on it. Oh man, I moved up a bunch. Hold on. Oh, Nolan asked a question, but let me get the what infamous? Okay, question from Austin T-Rex. Did you ever see the Bloodshot Vin Diesel action figure? I did not, and I probably should have. Now you brought it up. Monster. That wasn't a question. Hold on. Sorry. Pencil Tip Workshop. What's a movie you haven't seen but have always wanted to see? Huh. Bunch of Bakshi, there's Fellini, there's Bergman I want to see. I actually haven't seen Cannonball Run. I've been thinking about that lately. There's that. I could be here all night doing that question, frankly. So I would say biggest one, I don't know, man. Maybe Ryan's Daughter. I've wanted to watch that. I don't get me started on that one. That's gonna be. You could literally ask that every time, and I'll come up with different answers. How's Hollywood Month going for you? From John Barton. It's going pretty good, actually. I'm excited for Halloween decorating and carving pumpkins. That's going to be cool. Who does physical comedy acting nowadays from Cashew the Musical? I think Will Ferrell sort of did it, but I can't think of too many people who can really nail it. I feel like you kind of have to go someone different, someone new. The Chili Captain, I have a story about the suicide forest. The guy I worked with told me Logan Paul isn't stupid like his brothers. Then 3 days went by. What? Okay. Nolan, what's the best channel? Awesome movie, not ironic, unironic. I'm going to go with Atop the Fourth Wall. I think it's the best one. I think it is. I think Nolan would be happy. I think you're probably happy right now. I think it's the best one. I've seen Kick-Assia and Atop the Fourth Wall. I don't think I've seen the other ones, right? So, of the two I've seen, I would say Atop the Fourth Wall is better. A question from Tyler said, John Austen role in film or... I don't... from... Like, is that Gomez Adams, right? He was in West Side Story. I always liked him in West Side Story. Ultra Star Inc. asks, what's the best way to give opinions on cartoons or movies? Because I always have trouble giving my thoughts on anything. I would say just understand, like, try to be direct, try to say your real emotions, try to be genuine, try to really show your experience with it. I think that's really what you need to do a lot. Try to really show what it was like for you experiencing that thing and try to communicate it that way. Like, how did you feel? How did it flow for you? What did you immediately think of while watching it and after you watched it? I would go with stuff like that. Just try to think of what you were thinking, which I assume you were thinking, or what the emotions were like, or what it meant to you. I would go from that. Evil Ira, have you heard they're making a Yuzusaki Yojimbo cartoon? I haven't heard that, but that's interesting. I like that. Forever Zara, the Mr. Hop. Oh, okay, sorry. I should just not read everything. I should make sure there's a question there. Pencil Tip Workshop. What's a movie you'd want to see in theaters that you haven't seen it in a theater? Road Warrior, probably, because I never saw it in the theater. I would like to see Halloween in the theater. I don't think I've done that. I don't think I've seen The Shining. I haven't seen a lot of Kubrick in the theater. I need to do 2001 once in my life, as well as Lawrence Arabian 70mm. And that's another question that we could be here with literally all day. Maybe Dr. Zhivago, maybe I would see any of the Disney animated I haven't seen. I would see there's a bunch of Studio anyway. What's your favorite and least favorite characters in media? My favorite probably Jaws. No. My favorite, I'm not sure who my favorite, maybe Godzilla. I don't know. Least favorite Trump. I don't know. Sorry. Question on thoughts on the James Bond poster. I didn't talk about that. It was kind of lazy. It wasn't very good. Of the posters they've done with Daniel Craig era, it was kind of a bad poster. He just looked like chill, and it was like they could have done a much better job. His graphic design was sort of lazy, I'm gonna be honest. Monsters Review, sugar-free Red Bull is a big mood. Yeah, it is, baby. Alright, anyway. Favorite MomoCon moment from Nathaniel Fogel? Just meeting all my buds, I guess. That would probably be it. Oh man, Jim, you are ignoring me. I don't appreciate. Am I ignoring you? I don't think I'm ignoring you. There's a lot of things in here. I don't know, man. Just text me maybe. I can't keep up with all. There's a lot of things I gotta read, man. I don't know. What's your favorite and least favorite cartoon, theory, conspiracy, Zane Powers? My least favorite, I don't know. My favorite, probably. Brain's not working. Favorite trauma film from Bro Literus, probably Sergeant Kabuki Mask. Evil Ira, did Disney move too fast with the Star Wars films? Yeah, a little bit, but I think they also got a Rogue One hit out of that. I think maybe they shouldn't have done Solo when they did it. They should have loosened up on that one, or maybe just give it a year. I think the first three, the way they did it was fine, but after that they needed to chill out, clearly. Do you have any anticipation for Sean Levy's Free Guy, or is Pink Panther going to be the pinnacle of his career? I don't have much faith in Free Guy, but we'll see. Sorry. Anyway, now I'm seeing his thing again. Have you seen? Okay, Forever Zara asks, have you seen Elmo and Grouchland? Will you review it? I did review it, and Sophie's in the review. You should check it out. What's your favorite 2000s Disney film? Mine is Lilo and Stitch. I would say Lilo and Stitch or Emperor's New Groove. What's the dumbest prediction you've ever made? I thought once we'd have a panda as pets. Oh, that's interesting, Zane Powers. I really want to put what Nolan put on here. It's funny. Anyway, if Nolan gives me permission, that's funny. Most anticipated film for the rest of 2019, I Lost My Body is one, Irishman is the other, I would say. Also Star Wars, a little bit. I did see Jesus Bro, you're right, Ryan Walterson. I'm sorry I forgot about that. God, there's a lot of these. With Halloween coming up from Paige Howard, what would you want to have in your own trick-or-treat bag? Also, what's your worst favorite candy? Probably like the Now and Laters, who cares about that? I used to really love Milky Ways, now I'm more of a Snickers person. I evolved, bro. Okay, Zane Paris asks, when creating a series, should you come up with the characters first and shape the world around them, or come up with the world first and make characters to further that? There's no right or wrong way to write a story. You just have to find the right or wrong way to tell that story. Coming up with it is a whole different thing unto itself. You come up with how you come up with it. There's no way to really do that or not do it. It's more of how you tell the story. Major Mekazawa, does the Godzilla toy give you great life advice? Do you? It does. Oh, hold on. Post it. Nolan also gave me his social security number, so I'm actually probably going to end because I got to open a few credit cards. But Nolan texted me, "Your mama gay." So just so everyone knows, thank you, Nolan. I like that you're here. It makes me feel good about myself. Okay, oh God, there's a lot of these tonight. All right, what is your favorite Sesame Street Christmas special? Muppet Family Christmas, of course, duh. What do you consider the best channel? I did that already. Hold on. Strangest place you ever saw a movie from Pencil Tip Workshop. School. I haven't seen it. There's some weird theaters I've seen it in, but it'd just be like I was the only person in the theater several times, and that's always kind of strange. My favorite theory is the Frozen Tarzan one. Oh, I've heard that one. Yeah, maybe. Speaking of the wall, what album would you like to see be made into a movie? I don't really want that, so maybe like the history of an album, but I don't know about that one. Maybe like I wouldn't mind like if you did like kind of a cool animated thing to like particular albums, like maybe Stankonia. Nah, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't mind like if you did a Miles Davis album and had kind of like some freeform animation. I'd be down for that. Will Disney ever face another downturn like it did in early to mid 80s and 2000s from Evil Ira? Disney is not going to dominate next year the way it did this year. This was kind of like a rare occurrence, despite all the power they have. This is just all these franchises hitting at the same time, which makes me wonder why they even release Star Wars, because it feels like the anticipation is not there. Yeah, we're not going to see as much, but I think because they have to figure a lot of stuff out, you might see a bit of a downturn in the next couple of years. Certainly, you're not going to see a year like this again. I don't think they'll have a significant downturn like we've seen a little bit, but when Bob Iger leaves, they're going to have some problems. So, yeah, favorite Felix the Cat cartoon from Rough Night. I would say Woo's Whoopi, probably. There's a lot. You could watch any of the ones where he does crazy. Woo's Whoopi is the one where he gets drunk and like ends up in Egypt and all that. Question: should Dog Walker change that channel? Yeah. Do you play video games from Club Soda? Not really. Sorry. I'm not very good at reading your names, but Perlo, are you excited for Jojo Rabbit? I am a little bit. I kind of think it might be a little simplistic, but anyway. You should make a P.O. box. I should, but that's money, and I'd have to worry about it, and it's stressing me out already. I don't know. What is the best Godzilla character, and why is it Jet Jaguar? I actually like, oh, damn it. Who's the doctor in the original? Anyway, I actually like those characters a lot. I like Mothra a lot. I like King Ghidorah, all that stuff. Nolan's funny. Favorite new TV show that's come out this year? Infinity Train. Ip Man vs 10 Black Belts. It's a must-watch, Jim. Oh, that sounds cool. Are you a Homestar Runner fan from Perlo? I was. I don't think I watch it anymore. What is your favorite forgotten Muppet from Forever Zara? Maybe the one from the newer Muppets. I can't think of a really good one. Oh, is it today is 100th birthday to Felix the Cat from Evil Ira? Didn't know that. Am I up to date on the chat? It looks like I am, and it is definitely time to go. I think this thing is gone for a very long. Where are we at? Whoa, 1:30. Okay, it's time to kick it down. What would you do if Godzilla attacked New York? I would run. What kind of questions is this? Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the weird Snyder Cut thing that I had on here. Let's see. So, this past week, I didn't have as many videos. I'm kind of working on a bigger thing, and there's essays I've been working on, and just things didn't work out. But this week we had the movie review vote. Voting for that ends in 24 hours. So if you want to vote on the movie review vote, do it right after you left the stream and go vote right now. This is Saturday night, so you have basically till about Sunday night to do so. You have about a week to do that if you haven't already. The Regal segment that was taken out of that movie crap, I'm actually going to be taking out the Wall movie crap, the Wall review, and that will probably be out maybe Monday. And then I had the Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans review. I also Nolan's funny. Next week, Joker review. A Day Without a Mexican as well. And then in every show ever, I hope, and maybe what's it? The Will Smith. Man, I'm tired. Okay, the gimmick. No, it's not the gimmick. I almost said the gimmick. Gemini Man, the gimmick man. Ooh. All right. I hope to do that one. We'll see. Addams Family. I might see that with Sophie, so that might be later. Anyway. I hope you guys all have a good night. Thank you all very much for everyone watching. Thank you, Nolan, for being in the chat. Thank you, Niju Kichu, for the super chat. Everyone who gave a super chat, I very much appreciate it. Cashew the Musical did as well. Thank you very much there. Thank you, everyone, for all the support you've been giving me with this show. This show has been an awesome success, and it's because of all of you and all of your support and helping me be able to do this. It's always hard to make content in general just because there's always a million things going on. And this show has kind of motivated me and like kind of given me sort of more stuff. And thank you very much for that, for all of that and all your support. Anyway, I'm going to go. Good night, Nolan. Good night, everyone. And I will see you guys next time. And you guys all have a good night. And I'll see you next Saturday at 10:30.